Alright, so today we're going to have our little Maiden on a score that I traded for a while back. Let me show you what I got. So yeah, we're probably going to run this at some point today. That'll probably be a separate video. So what I'm really running right here is this guy right here. It's just like the Shadow drone I had, but this one is a Warrior drone. There's a few differences to it. I think the camera is not quite as good. I really don't know though, to be honest with you. And this one here, my buddy told me he couldn't keep it stable, blah, blah, blah. So we might be in for a treat, you know, of nothing but crashes. So what I'm planning on doing is I'll take it up there on the hill a little bit and we'll just take it up and see if we can get a hover out of it. Excuse me. And then we'll see where it goes from there. So yeah, this whole episode here is just going to be nothing about nothing but running through the Warrior drone here, seeing what it'll do, what it can't do. I don't even know what the limits are set on. It's probably set at the basic 60 foot or 100 foot or whatever it's normally at. You can crank them up a whole lot higher than that, but I won't do that in this video here. I just want to make sure that everything's working properly before I go any further. I do have the battery that's in it, and then I also charged up a second pack. That way I can give it a little bit of a test. If things start going pretty good, you know, we can kind of check it out and see, you know, what it'll do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over to the onboard. I'm going to try to get some video while it's actually in flight. As long as the app works. Sometimes they don't work. So if that happens, you know, you might see me come back and forth or whatever. But that's the plan anyway, just to kind of run it through the app here and just kind of let you see what it's seeing there. Alright, so we're going to take it off, and as you can already tell that the camera itself is not really producing a very good picture. So right away you can kind of see that I'm fighting it a little bit. It kept wanting to drift to one side, and then when I would get the drift on the one side trimmed out, it wanted to drift backwards. It's just a product of some of these not so expensive drones. This one here though, after further inspection on it, and I should have done this from the beginning, the blades themselves were a little bit damaged, like somebody had gotten into something. But you know, it is what it is. Again, this is a Maiden, so you know, we'll see what it'll do. Notice how the camera has a frame rate issue. See how it's kind of bouncing around and jumping a little bit. This is to be expected on a lot of the inexpensive drones. I bought quite a few of these in the past. I've done many reviews on them. I actually don't do reviews for Banggood anymore because they didn't like my review that I put out there on one of their drones. It's a little unfortunate too, because as you can tell, this drone seems like it's got a decent flight pattern that could be had here. The landing was somewhat decent. So this is after I've kind of gnawed out some of the kinks a little bit. I guess I was getting some of it down because I still have a few, a little bit of trouble with the trim back and forth. You'll see that here in a minute. And the camera obviously isn't articulating at all. I was trying to turn it down several times. It wouldn't move at all. So the camera module is probably busted in there. I'm just going to 3D print a GoPro mount and be done with it. Now this is where I really start to get it kind of figured out. There's still something kind of vibrating and shaking around an awful lot. I'm going to have to dig into that later. You can kind of see with the frame rate skips here, some of that is the speed of the camera, or the aperture or whatever, trying to keep up with the movement, and the other part of it is just a bad camera.
but there was a nasty vibration that I started noticing on one of the motors itself. So I don't know if I got a bad motor, something's inside of there. I don't know. We're gonna have to dig in and probably do a repair video on this one here. But so far so good. It's not, you know, exactly terrible. I think it has potential. I decided to go a little bit higher here, kind of testing the range a little bit. It seems to do pretty good, really. It's a lot like the Shadow drone that I have. I think they're a decent platform. They've been given cheap electronics, cheap cameras, you know, that kind of thing. I wish they would put better stuff in them because I think they have some potential. With this one here, like I said, I'm just gonna 3D print a GoPro mount, and I'm gonna stick my Dragon Touch on here. And
as you can see, the drone flew. It does have a few issues. I don't know what the weird wobble is on the front there. It might have a bad motor. Could just have a bad blade. I got tons of them at the house, so I'm gonna check that out and see if maybe I can throw something else in there and see if it clears it out a little bit. But it did actually fly fairly well. I took it down. Turn this around. I took it down there a little ways. I mean, you'll see that on the video. I took it down there and kind of come around pretty good. I was only on the second speed setting. This goes up to 4 on this one. So I didn't want to go too crazy and crank it up too high. It did have a few trim issues, but then again, I think it's honestly due to the blades themselves, because after looking at them a little further, you can kind of see they're a little chewed up there. That's not for me. I haven't actually flown it yet. This is my Maiden on it. So, but if you look at it, this one here has kind of got a little bend on it. That's also a little bit on the floppy side. But again, like I said, I got tons of these at home. I can 3D print them. Hell, I can order them for that matter. It doesn't really matter. They're not expensive. I'm somewhat happy with it. I traded this thing for a radio. I think it was a Kyosho radio that I was not using anyway. My buddy needed a radio, and I wanted to help him out. So I helped him out. He knows I like to fly and mess around with drones and stuff. So he had that Warrior drone that he got from somewhere. I don't know if he did like the Bid FTA marketplace or whatever that auction thing is. So he did that and didn't really like it. I don't know if he crashed it or if it came that way or whatever. But the point is, everything works on here. So now we know about what to build on. So the next step is going to be just to probably put some better propellers on there, blades, whatever you call them, and see if I can work out the trim settings a little bit. I can do that in the yard at the house without coming, you know, anywhere else and, you know, getting anybody close to it or whatever and have it go run away. The batteries don't seem to last very long at all, but the other Promark was that way too, so I did a battery mod on it, but it couldn't handle the battery mod that I did, so I don't know if I'm going to be doing that on this one or not. We'll check that out at a later time. But all in all, it seems decent. It's got some decent range. I didn't go very high with it, but it felt like I could go pretty high. It seems like it's pretty stable in the air, minus the trim issues. So I plan on kind of going a little bit with this one here, see if maybe I could take the other Promark and salvage some parts off of it, put it on there, and, you know, see if I can kind of do a little bit of upgrading, a little bit of finagling, get some other stuff rolling there on it. I always did like the Promark I had before. The only issue I had with that one was with the battery mod. I crashed it from 300 feet in the air, so didn't really bode well for that one. So it came straight down at a dead stick and just, I mean, the whole bottom was destroyed. So I never got around to fixing it, at least not yet. But now I have another one very similar, so I can always take parts from that and go to town. So I hope you guys like this video, and just make sure you like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing some more with this stuff here. I got some other drones and stuff I want to mess around with. I was going over some of the older drones I have when we was doing our paranormal investigation. I wanted to take some of them inside of a building, some of the smaller ones I have. And I noticed there was a bunch of problems with them. So I'm going to try to go over some of those as well. Maybe I'll do like a whole drone video and see what I can come up with, what I can salvage, and, you know, maybe we'll 3D print one or something. Who knows? But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.